Well, I got an interesting story for you guys today. I woke up at like 6 a.m. this morning, and you guys know I wake up roughly around 4:30, 3:45. I don't even know. This is a person staring at me. I like when people stare at me. Not really. Anyways, I'm heading over to the library right now. I got to print out some stuff for lab. Hopefully use them. I'll be kind of salty about it, but even if we don't, it is what it is. Another thing that happened, we didn't run. We didn't get to study our stuff, so that's kind of sucks. And then on the way to school, we left our SD card, had to get another one of those, so we bought it. I actually like the design of this one. Probably show it to you if I can find the other SD card, hopefully. Well, if I find it, we got it back up, which is good. And then lastly, I lost my wide angle lens and spent like 5-10 minutes looking for that. It's been an amazing day, so I gotta say. Bro, all this stuff we gotta print, golly, so much. Like nobody in here today. Usually when I come in here, it's packed. 88 cents. Luckily I got 420 left. Boom. Now print. Alright, got the papers right here. It's like 11 pages. It wasn't too bad. Hopefully you used at least one of them. Class is over. It's around 4. I gotta go pick Rob, but I'm gonna go get my Brazilian chicken flatbread. I have really fun in lab. I have some things I want to talk to y'all about, but we'll talk about those later. I was gonna vlog when we had our little hour break from 11 to 12, but unfortunately I had left my camera in my bag and then went to go eat, so I just ate my normal food. I didn't get to eat one of my last wraps. I was just too full eating 2 wraps and then the chips and guacamole. But anyways, time to get this food. For all you guys asking, this is the place I come to eat basically every day. Just got home, got the pizza again. Parents are arguing as always. You know how it is. Look at this pizza. Ooh, look at this piece of chicken. I'll show you this. And the fruit. Plan is gonna eat, gonna do a little studying of the new notes while that food kind of digests. Then we'll run and then probably still study and then get ourselves in trouble. So here's a pro of having a rooster. Before we had this rooster, none of the chickens would lay any eggs. But then once Big Chungus started humping them all, mad eggs every day. Currently in the process of studying right now. Kinda took a while to start studying. I was eating. The only thing I'm worried about right now is how the frick am I gonna eat 900 calories in 3 hours and 20 minutes. We'll figure it out, but tomorrow you already know what's gonna happen. Rest in peace. Side, facial hair. But we'll see you again next week. Alright, just finished going over the new fundamentals notes. They weren't too bad. Actually, they kind of took me a while because we had to know like 8 to 10 different oxygen devices and the amount of oxygen they deliver each minute and like the flow rate. That was kind of tough, but we've narrowed them most down. We're having some trouble with a couple of them, but we should get those down in the coming days. Now the plan is to go for a 30-minute run, come back, shower, and then work on reviewing old I think pharmacology notes. I'm not sure. Just got back from my run. It was about 30-ish minutes. Ran the neighborhood about 3 times. Can't really tell I'm sweating. Maybe a little bit starting to because it's kind of warm in here. I did have 2 cramps twice, but they went away kind of quickly within like 1 or 2 minutes. I ran like a little bit above conversation, being able to hold a conversation pace, but just a little bit under like breathless. So I don't know like that is, but now I need to take a shower. Looks like parents finished the puzzle. Let me get up here. Get y'all a good shot. Might be a little light. Oh, look at that puzzle. See if I can't raise it up. Oh, yeah. There's a little light at the bottom right, but it's okay. Callie over here chilling. What you doing, buddy? What you doing? And you? What do you think you're doing, buddy? I haven't gotten you out in a while, and it's kind of upsetting me. Alright, so I'm taking a little break from studying. I'm working on pharmacology right now, the old notes. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to being able to take notes on Gero because I haven't gotten to the 2 harder ones on pharma yet, but we'll see. Anyways, I wanted to talk about my lab today, mainly because like I went through, had some ideas of it, and I'm going to come back later and give my summary of it, kind of to help me study and to let y'all know like how it went. And so first thing we did was, got there at 8, right? And our first skill was seizure precautions, right? Pretty neat. If your person has seizure precautions, you're going to know important things that you need to know is I remember it's going to be in any order. Like when the person wakes up, don't ask any concerning questions like what's the name of your father, because if they don't remember, that'll frustrate them even more. Another thing you don't want to do is when they're seizing, you don't want to put your finger in her mouth. Teacher told a story when she was having a seizure, she put her father put a finger in his mouth and it was bloody, and he was going to put a wooden spoon in there, and it was like, no, you can't do that, and the reason why is if you put something hard in there, that's when you're going to start cracking teeth. You don't want to do that. We talked about, like, can we delegate this to a NAP, which is a nursing assisted personnel. From now on, I would be saying NAP, nursing assisted personnel, NAP. You can't delegate suctioning to them. However, they can get all their equipment ready, put it just like on the table, but they can't set it up in the room, and the nurse has to do it, and they have to be the ones that physically suction it. Another thing they talked about was, like, if there's a lot of suctioning, turn it up like really high, but if it's like a little bit, keep it on a lower level. We did a competition of how to do it. I think my fastest time was like 40 seconds, but I didn't know how to do it. Other people, I think the record is like 16 seconds. Next station we did was fire precautions. That one was kind of, I think, the boring one of the two. Of all this, I think there's 6, I don't remember. But I did learn some new things. So there's 2 acronyms, pass and race. I know what pass is. Pull pin, aim at the bases, fire, squeeze handle, sweep from side to side. I'm going to stand like 6 to 10 feet away. And race is rescue, alert, confine, and evacuate anyone in immediate danger. I also learned that in the hospital they have like keeps the smoke out. I didn't know there was doors that could do that. It's kind of cool. I also didn't know, like, you close the door of the room that the fire's in to keep it contained. And then there's things called vertical and horizontal. I think moving or evacuating. So like horizontal is like when you go in like one section of the room to another room, but it's separated by the door. And then vertical is you go down, you don't go up, because that's stupid to go up, to be honest. Next one we did was probably hot and cold applications. Now I think about it, this was probably the worst one. It's kind of boring. Do it to protect skin, and you don't want to apply it directly on the skin because it could cause burns, or I don't know what would cause for coldness, maybe numbness, and maybe like that. And then delegation, you can do it except if you're doing sterile stuff. Moist heat prevents drying of the skin. It can cause burns. Heat applications, they reduce injury. Another thing we learned was it's not, after 20 minutes, usually hot and cold therapies usually do not work as well as they normally do, and they could have reverse effects. And then there was one acronym they gave us, is PRICE. It's a protect, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. That's what it was. Alright, next one we did was feeding. I'm not sure if this is the best one I like. I think the seizure one probably first. Feeding gotta be second, I think. I don't know. What we did was half of us went out of the room. The other half were given like a disorder they had, and then they had to eat based on what the disorder was, and we had to either feed them or help them feeding. My person had rheumatoid arthritis. One way that the teacher talked about improving the way he could eat was apparently they have things like, so you eat like this, how the fingers normally are, so like you could attach like a wristband and put like a spoon and stuff and kind of help them do it. It's kind of, instead of a fine gross motor, instead of a fine movement, I think it's a gross motor movement. I think that's what it is. It's kind of cool. I like doing that, John. And then the last one was PPE. Okay, hang on. You can delegate feeding. If they have aspiration risks, you don't want to use straws. And then there's a thing called queuing. It's like okay, chew your food, swallow your food. Did you chew your food? Did you swallow your food? Stuff like that. This is kind of neat, to be honest. Next one and the last one was PPE. We do it to protect the patient from any unknown things that may be sick and not even know it. And then, so we don't pass it from patient to patient. And there's 6 apparently precautions: airborne, droplet, contact. I knew those 3, but then I didn't know contact enteric, and I just forgot about standard. And then universal gloving is one. God, this table's sticky. Woo. I think that was it. No, there's certain ways to put PPE on. Hang on. Yes, so to down the glove, which means put it on. You do gown, mask, goggles, gloves, and then the doff is gloves, goggles, gown, and mask. Yeah. I looked at it. It's okay. And then there's like negative and positive pressure. Negative pulls all the germs toward the patient. Positive takes them away. Like cancer patients have positive, but like negative would be like TB. You don't want TB. That's an example of an airborne. With airborne, it's always negative pressure. You always have to close doors, and there's no safe zone. However, there's like a contact or droplet. You can stay like 3 to 6 feet away, usually 6 feet away from it, and you'll be okay. But that was the lab, and I really enjoyed it. All right, bored of studying. Got to the point where studying more and more wasn't effective, so I'm calling it quits. All right, tomorrow should be relatively easy if we get up on time. We're going to do the Gero PowerPoint, take notes on that, and study that. But first, we're going to finish all the farm notes. We're going to run tomorrow, and if we have time, which we should if we get up on time, we'll do the second lecture of pharmacology. Last thing I want to say before I end the vlog is I want to be more inclusive in what I put in this vlog, such as like exercise, which I've been including, but we're bringing that back tomorrow, and just anything in general, such as my turtles, life, pets, anything.